Figure 4 Radio.
Lock it in. Lock it in. Lock it in.
So, last week we talked about giving matches, and I am, of course, the Killer Car Brand, and I am joined once again by the mastermind Ollie Spring.
Hey.
And Lucas Lucky the Mac of Cheeses.
What?
No idea. Luca Mac, hello.
Mac of cheese.
Mac of Cheese.
Yes.
Luco Mac
Hello.
and Cheese.
And
Hello.
yet we still haven't had the Luca Mac across the Cineworld. However, let's not botch our way through this and go straight on to Gimmick Wrestlers.
Yeah, we talked about matches last week. This time it's wrestlers. First of all, quick question. A gimmick's a good thing as far as you guys are
I love
concerned.
gimmicks.
I think...
As long as they're done right.
I think gimmicks is... If it wasn't for gimmicks, wrestling wouldn't be interesting.
It would be shit.
Yeah,
If it
no,
literally-
exactly.
if
As
it
long
was
as-
just two guys in Lycra wrestling each other without anything else,
As long as
it would
it's-
be an Olympic event.
I think as long as it adds something to the character of
Yeah.
the wrestling, like one of the most recent ones we touched on was Tyler Breeze.
Yeah.
Like his
Perfect
whole,
gimmick.
Yeah, his whole selfie stick. He's called Prince Pretty. It plays really well.
I hate
But
him.
I can't
Why?
stand him either.
He's a dick. No, as a gimmick, as a wrestler,
yeah.
he's a
Yeah,
dick.
well there you go, because he's a heel. Have you seen
Yeah,
him on
exactly.
Breaking Ground? Because
Yes.
the guy
Lovable
behind the
guy.
character.
Didn't he? Isn't there something about a dog that he?
Yeah, he
picked up a dog
rescues
and-
a dog that was homeless. Yeah,
Oh, I haven't got
yeah.
that
As a
far.
guy, I'd quite happily,
Right.
It's fine.
like, if I was trapped in a lift with him, I'd be happy to
Yeah.
chat and hang out with a guy.
But as the gimmick, as the wrestler, I hate him.
It's like, yeah,
And that's fair
Kevin
enough.
Steen, I love. Kevin Owens, I hate, and that's the way it should be.
But then Kevin Steen, I love. Kevin Owens, I love.
Well, I love him, but I don't like. I
I
just,
like him. I think me and him would have a good old chin whack.
I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say, before Extreme Rules came out,
Yeah.
I was watching Raw, and there was a part of me that saw the bloodline, the Usos and Roman Reigns against the club, and I actually thought,
Shit.
no, and I actually thought they're not doing a bad job with Reigns.
Okay.
Like they're actually making him a lot easier to not boo. Like I still want to boo him because he's still shoved down our throats.
The only time.
But because they've given him the Usos and they've paired him up with three other guys in Anderson and Gallows and,
I still
and AJ.
don't like him.
No, I'm not saying he's
almost
the
in
best
like
wrestler.
they've
but-
almost put him back into a Shield type scenario where he's not holding everything.
yeah, and I think that works better for him.
Yeah. The only time I've actually wanted to cheer Reigns was when he actually turned on Hunter and started beating the shit out of him with
Yeah.
a chair.
Yeah.
That was because in
Yeah.
fact we talked about this. If you go back to figure4radio.weebly.com and check out our podcast, there is a Roman Reigns analysis where we talk about this subject. But I fucking loved it when he turned on him with a chair. That was my business voice.
But
by
they
the way.
fucked that one up by giving him the title next week.
And
That's
then-
what I thought.
Yeah.
Well,
Next night.
and then he's just gone back to the same old mold. But when he's not a believable character or gimmick, like what is Roman Reigns' gimmick? Like what is it? What's the hook for Roman
his
Reigns?
thing is one versus all, isn't it? Which he's currently
is the
not
man.
doing
So
because he's not one anymore. There's three of them.
That's it.
So he's kind of not playing up to his own gimmick. at the
Whereas
minute.
let's go through the Shield. You look at Dean Ambrose. His gimmick is he's a lunatic. He's a bit unhinged. He does
Yep.
the things that other people wouldn't, like slap Brock
And
Lesnar
he's
in
still-
the face.
that was amazing.
Yeah,
but
and there
he's
you
still
go.
doing it.
There you go. And when you're true to a character and true to a gimmick, you buy in when you don't really have a fucking like Dolph Ziggler. There we go. I feel like I've just lit a fuse and I'm about to watch a beautiful firework go off.
Okay, so
Come on, Luke, you're a firework. Come and show us what you're worth.
okay.
Like this podcast up.
For copyright reasons, we're
Yeah.
not going to sing any more.
No, we're not. Yeah,
There are other shit
okay,
pop songs
so-
available.
yeah. So
What's Ziggler's gimmick?
Gimmick is he is the show off with the inverted commas that people can't see.
But what does he ever really show off with anything?
Apart from how to sleep with Summer Rae or Lana, no. And even that wasn't believable. Like, I actually thought to myself the other day, like, I can't stand Ziggler's character. There's something about him. I think in person he's probably going to be a dick anyway. But
I get the feeling he'd be all right in person.
I think
Isn't he like a stand-up comedian?
I think he'd love himself too much. I think he'd be a narcissistic
I think he's
asshole.
all right.
Anyway, carry on.
Anyway,
Yeah.
yes. Anyway, So I actually thought to myself today, how could I book Ziggler to be the show off that he should be? And I am
Sleep with Stephanie.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and show that off.
Yeah.
So I might do it. I might actually now go back and actually write how to book Ziggler as a show off.
I'd pair him up with Tyler Breeze.
I reckon if I could make it, if I write it down and actually think, okay, he's showing off about this and he's doing X, Y, Z, I'd probably end up liking him if that's how he was booked.
That's it. So
But he doesn't live up to his own gimmick.
Yeah.
And that's what annoys me.
Made a cocktail while riding a motocross, throughout the whole of the
Jumping
arena.
sharks.
So kind of like a new Mr. Perfect. If he does stuff that it
essentially.
just basically shows off.
Yeah, like when he's in the ring, he's got to have that kind of Randy Orton arrogance. You know how Randy will just stand and pose?
Yeah, like...
He's got to have that arrogance about him.
He doesn't, though, does he?
But no, he doesn't. He's
Standard wrestler, jobber, really. That's what
Yeah,
he's doing.
essentially he is. Like,
I almost wonder if the show-off tagline is just something that they just stuck with him. And it's just like, there you go. So you are Dolph Ziggler, you are Roller Dice. Show off.
Yeah.
There you go.
But then surely that's for him to go, okay, well, this is what I've been given. I'm going to make it work. Because that's how you get over.
True.
You know.
It also depends what he's been allowed to do or told to do, I guess, as well. You've got a role to fill. If they've told him not to show off, then...
they're killing their own character.
They're shooting themselves in the foot.
Show off then.
We'll save the dark because I know kind of like
love him.
I know Luke's got his thing with Dolph Ziggler. I could like the Kai firework and mention the darker characters, but I think that's going to be something for give it 5 or 10 minutes. We'll let you build up to that one. Any other good gimmick characters that straight away like I'm always going back to TNA. That someone like EC3. Before he got beat, his entitled gimmick and his kind of
that was really good. I enjoyed that.
That's the thing. I loved
that
it
was
too.
really fun.
I was a massive fan because it just worked. You know, he
had that whole year unbeaten as well, didn't he?
Yeah,
which played into it.
He ran that down.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. That was part of his
That was the whole
gimmick.
point of, like you said, of his entitlement, and he was like, "Look, I've done all this now, and
look at how great I am," and he had something to back it up.
Yeah, exactly.
He had a solid body of work to say.
He
Yeah,
had Brutus Clay or whatever it's
right,
Tyrus.
Tyrus.
In the background, he's like, "Yeah, you're not going to beat me."
That's it.
He's
yeah.
around.
That's it, precisely. And that, I think, as far as TNA, that's one of the because this thing, a gimmick character doesn't have to be cheesy and corny and silly. It's just a solid motivation as to why you want to climb into that ring. Yeah. Why, as a character, why do you want to get in that ring? In fact, Kai, do you remember when Robbie E came over and we were in a
I do. Yeah.
we were in one of his lectures, and he asked, I think, our friend Kai Payne.
Yeah.
So who are you? He said, I'm Kai Payne. So what's your character? Oh, I'm arrogant. I'm a bit cocky. And he was like, well, every heel is arrogant and cocky. What's your motivation to be a wrestler? Why do you want to be in that ring? And he couldn't answer, the poor guy. I mean, fair enough. This was a very different level, but that's the question you need to answer.
Defending Kai Payne, he was very green at the time. He's
in a couple
matches, and he'd recently been put into a heel role, so he was trying to figure out himself. So I don't think at that point
quite hard
he knew where.
Oh, no, I'm just using it as I was mainly focused on Robbie's question of why does your character want to climb within that ring and go and fight somebody? Like, what's it all about?
He's a Jersey boy.
Yeah.
And so he's coming from there with suntan and hair's all pretty nice.
For me,
that's a gimmick.
No, but not that. But for me, that's more of a show-off gimmick.
In a way, yeah.
That's exactly what it should be.
Showing off is definitely a part of it, because I guess Robbie's, he's been to the gym, he's got this tan. It's a very aesthetic. He wants to show himself off.
Yeah, exactly.
And say, I've spent hours on my hair. I've been in the gym. I've been in the tanning salon. Look at how amazing I am. Like, just kind of showing. It's probably you could almost go down the line of it's an insecurity thing. But I actually quite like the bromance, to be honest. They always get a lot of stick, but I quite like the bromance because they've got a solid gimmick.
Bromance.
Yeah. It just works. It just works, yeah.
Can I talk about one? It's a wrestler.
No.
Okay, fair enough. And that's this week's.
It's a wrestler. Oh, is this going to be like charades or something? How many words?
No
words.
No words. Okay.
There are no words.
And the reason why I love this wrestler in particular is because he is so versatile in the gimmicks he's been given and done himself. So he's been given one. He's also created them as well. Yeah, it's a 3-man into one.
Oh, Foley.
Fucking Foley.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
That wasn't what I was thinking.
Who's your
favourite face of Foley?
Cactus Jack.
Cactus Jack.
I think
but I
mine
like
will always be
Mankind.
Mankind, the first incarnation of Mankind when he wore brown.
So you know what? Actually, I think my favourite promo was from Mankind.
Yeah?
When he was with JR. And he was
Oh,
pulling
yeah,
his
yeah,
hair
yeah,
out.
yeah.
And that was just so good. You
So,
talk
yeah,
about the psychology
that's
of
it.
wrestling.
That's it.
That was
Cactus Jack is a
amazing.
close second for me, but
It's
the
just-
original
Not
Mankind.
Mankind.
Those three gimmicks, and for all of them to be. I mean, it could still go today if he could, and there
Yeah.
would still be household
Yeah.
fucking names. They were absolutely.
But I
brilliant.
think we keep going back to the Royal Rumble 2000. But it was...
So it's a good, I can't wait to watch it in full.
I know. But it was that thing of Triple H, I think it was meant to be Dude Love. That he was
Okay.
meant to be fighting
Yeah.
at the
Yeah.
Royal Rumble. And then out of nowhere on the Titantron, Dude Love's there. And he's saying, oh, you know, my guest on today's show is Mankind.
I remember
And he's
this
filmed
video.
himself
Yeah, yeah.
as Mankind. And they're talking. He goes, well, I'm not ready for this match. And I don't think you are, but there's someone that is.
I know some guy who
And then it
is.
stops, and then his music hits,
Yeah.
and it's just like bang, out he comes, and yeah, like you said, like
It was-
gimmick wise,
yeah.
he was amazing.
That's
he was
it.
so clever.
He got him over, and that's the thing. But there's
Yeah.
I mean, we could list the amount of gimmicks that we love. But I think actually, Mr. Perfect was an interesting one because that was from an era where there wasn't really many gimmicks per se. I mean, there was a few.
Really?
I mean, well, there was a few. Like
Oh,
I'm
come
talking
on.
like before the new generation era, where everything was a gimmick from Repo Man to the trash.
What's the hockey player guy?
the Goon?
The Goon.
Goon.
yeah.
I'm talking like when you had people like Hulk Hogan and people like that. So it was
It did
and
just
Randy
seem
Savage.
like it was. It did just seem like it was big men in pants.
Yeah,
a lot of the time there weren't many
I guess.
characters.
What was Randy Savage's gimmick? I mean, he was the Macho Man, but was he really macho, or did he?
Very flamboyant.
Yeah, he was. I think he was probably one of the first kind of proper gimmicks because.
But then
we mentioned it before that he had completely different music to everyone else.
Yeah. Oh,
he
yeah,
had
yeah,
that
yeah.
massive thing. He came out. He had all the hats and the glasses, and he had.
But to me, that's not very macho,
flamboyant.
is it? He's wearing
Well,
a
no,
rainbow
not
coloured tattoo
necessarily,
thing. That's the opposite of macho.
But what
in
about
that aspect.
sort of Rick the Model Martel?
True. No. Well, yeah, he had there was. But I mean, I'm not saying there wasn't any at all. But generally
Oh,
speaking,
Rick Rude. He used to wear his own
yeah.
face on his ass.
true.
Ravishing Rick.
Rick Rude,
Yeah.
yeah. He was
Jake the
kind-
Snake, obviously, just with the snake.
Yeah.
But, yeah, okay. No, I say, there was a few, but notice as well that they were the ones that got over most.
The Mountie.
And I'm the Mountie.
No, I
Yeah.
guess you're right.
And but if you go back even further from maybe the early 80s into the 70s, I don't think there was many gimmicks.
I think
it was
that's
just
when
big
it
men in
was
pants.
more. I think that was when it was more seen as sport.
Kayfabe was
And it was-
live and kicking.
Yeah, damn right. And it was seen more as a sport than it is as entertainment nowadays. So it would have been slightly different.
Definitely, but yeah, I think I quite like Mr. Perfect is potentially someone I liked the most. I think.
What about like favourite gimmicks? Who is the like we just mentioned Mick Foley.
I'd still go.
Who
I
else
think
up there?
Foley is definitely up there for me as one of my all-time favorites. But
Yeah.
you can't go through this without mentioning the Undertaker, can you?
No,
Really?
Fucking
Exactly.
love the Undertaker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That whole
think-
gimmick, I loved how the way the Mark Calloway.
Calloway.
Yeah.
I want to say Mark Connell for some reason. I don't know why. Mark Calloway, how he developed that comic book Undertaker gimmick
Yeah.
to being
He
actual
evolved.
really.
He really did evolve.
Really
That's
did.
what I was going to
So
say.
good.
It's that thing he's gone from his grey socks pulled up to his knees outside his trousers.
Yeah, kind
to,
of zombie-esque Undertaker.
Yeah, to that, and then he went to like the Ministry of Darkness.
Yep.
and
I
he was
love-
like,
that was my
that was
favourite.
really
Evil
good.
cult Undertaker.
Then it was a complete 180, and he was the American Badass.
But what I loved is
And
he
it
could still keep his name as the Undertaker, as American Badass,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
everyone still bought it
Yeah,
because
that's
it
but
was
that's
him.
when like he kind of changed his finisher. He went from using the tombstone all the time to the last ride, which was obviously a reference to the bike that he'd come down on, and he just carries on to evolve. But then he went obviously back to the Dead Man.
Yeah.
But there's still a
And-
hint of American Badass about
Yeah,
it. I
it's-
still love
But I think the best wrestlers are the ones that evolved, like the Undertaker did, like Mick Foley did. You know, he started off
Yeah.
with Mankind, he evolved into Dude Love.
Well,
evolved
he
into
started off
Cactus
as
Jack.
Dude Love when he was not a wrestler.
True,
Yeah.
true. That was his, his kind of jokey
What he
thing in a way.
wanted to be.
Very tongue-in-cheek
Yes.
almost. I'm trying to think of other people. I can't think of many people that have evolved quite like
How they made it on
Undertaker
it
has.
by how he made it with so little costume is Stone Cold Steve Austin, just black trunks and
Did he evolve really? In that
he was the
respect?
ringmaster, and he got given that opportunity to right, here you go, here's your gimmick. And
To be honest, even as a
he evolved
ringmaster,
it.
he wasn't awfully different. He just wasn't given much mic time. I mean, but then I think Stone Cold is a guy. I guess I'm at this era now where I'm watching, and you've got people like The Rock, Triple H, Austin, Big Show. They all just come to it. They're just wearing black pants, black boots. I'm not. I mean, granted, I love the characters, but
they're making them more real. But one I just wanted to quickly, as we just talked about The Undertaker, how he evolved so well.
Yes, yeah.
Completely 180. His brother, Kane.
Yeah.
How that just completely just.
And I guess Kane's another guy.
But then
Kane's evolved.
Kane was good.
Yeah.
He was
for
good.
a while. Like,
But it's just how that evolved into being no mask, just the whole character. I guess because I love when he first came in and it was basically the Undertaker. It's a dead man, you can't really kill him.
Yeah.
To the point of now he's a corporation suited up.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, that's
and then
true.
the Demon Kane's really.
Another guy actually that I feel has evolved a number of times. Sting.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Started off all bright and colourful face paint, then watched that Brandon Lee movie and was like, oh shit, I'm going to be that guy now.
Which was Scott Hall's idea.
Was it?
It was.
Interesting.
To come in that, and but I loved how that evolution played out with the
he
whole...
even referenced it in his Hall of Fame speech.
Yeah.
And did you know that he mentioned his Joker version of Sting? Do you remember?
Let's not talk about that.
I love I love
That was awful.
because it was different, because he evolved his character. All of a sudden he
watched Batman and thought, that's a good film.
He's making maniacal promos, and his face paint is no longer immaculate.
Okay,
and it's
he
messy
played it really well.
Yeah.
I just didn't like it. But maybe because I fell in love with...
Because you love classic Sting and you don't want to change classic Sting. Well, I don't. I didn't mind either. I loved the Joker Sting because it freshened him up. It made him interesting and exciting again.
I guess so.
If you just play the same character for 10, 15, 20 years, it's boring.
No, I guess you're right, because I fell so much in love with the darker side of Sting that's who I fell in love with.
Take
It's
Hulk
my first
Hogan.
love, if you like.
I say, but then didn't Sting go to TNA and become the leader of the something mafia?
Main event. Well,
Main event Mafia.
yes and no. Yes and no. There was a big thing between Angle was technically the leader,
Originally,
and
he was, wasn't he?
yeah, there was a lot of infighting there. But look at Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
If he'd have continued without turning heel and turning into Hollywood Hulk Hogan, would he? That's what he.
That gave him an
That's
extra
it.
boost.
The thing is, that heel turn was so needed.
Yeah, that's
He
it.
was-
Imagine
It
if it
was
ever
so
happened to John
unexpected,
Cena
though.
as well.
Yeah, that's true.
It was so unexpected. People thought they were going to come down and help Macho Man.
So then, surely Hulkamania is still one of the biggest gimmicks to date.
What is the gimmick though,
Axelmania.
in that respect? Though? Hulkamania is just the
fan base is like the believers.
the wave of popularity behind this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, really? Okay.
What do you think?
No, I don't know. I just think
What is Hulkamania to you?
it's dead as far as I'm concerned.
Well,
Maybe because I'm not a Hulk Hogan fan. Maybe
I'm
like
not. I'm really not.
back in the day, like I said before, you'd cheer for the baby face, you'd hate the heel. But I just think, like, for me now, there is, he can talk about his Hulkamaniacs, he can talk about this, but there's no buzz there anymore.
But he was never
It's
Mr. America.
No, he never was.
Anyone want to talk about that gimmick?
No.
No, good, okay.
Not really. But yeah, I mean, I think you like you say, Kai, you love the darker characters.
Yes.
So you've got your Kanes, you've got your Undertakers, the Stings. Can I mention Bray Wyatt?
Yeah, he's one who's bringing it back.
The new face of fear.
Yeah, I absolutely love Bray Wyatt, and that's again, it's kind of quite in the moment. It's one of the strongest gimmicks because he's playing this cult leader, and he's got these followers that kind of prey on every word he says. Yeah, it's different, and it's that variety that you need. That innovation is what you need.
But then, I guess I like the gimmicks of, as well as Bray Wyatt, and the Abyss, because they are those darker characters.
Abyss is another guy I fucking love.
The monster.
Yeah, he's just different.
Before, I kind of started watching TNA, I always thought Abyss was just the TNA Mankind.
Yes.
And then I watched it and was like, he's actually a lot better than that.
Yeah,
he's
without a doubt.
so much better than that.
I mean, his Joseph Parks.
Joseph Parks.
Yeah,
His
that was brilliant. And so once again, he freshed it up. He
went looking for himself, essentially.
Yeah. But I think that the brilliant thing in that is that the two characters could not be more different. Kind of like Mankind or Cactus Jack and like Commissioner Foley. Two very different characters, but he can pull them. But flip a switch and all of a sudden he's pulling his own hair out and shrieking into a microphone. Flick a switch again and he's talking business with you.
Yeah.
But what I loved about Joseph Parks was it looked like he could not legitimately wrestle. It looked absolutely awful. Yeah, a bit of blood. there was
That's
a
it,
bit.
was
There was
anyone,
this
yeah.
really strong wrestler.
I cannot imagine what it would be like to be a wrestler having to pretend like you can't
I
wrestle.
imagine that's harder.
Yeah. Like, imagine if, like, you're, I don't know, writing some notes down, but you have to pretend like you've never written before.
Never
something
used
like
a
that.
pen.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like,
use your
you
left
just
hand
can't,
easy.
can you, really? It's, yeah.
I can do
So
that.
I think that must have taken a lot of effort, to be honest.
It's absolutely brilliant. And he pulled it off. Didn't like the character, but it was good for a while.
He got over, if you're
Oh yeah,
like,
but for me personally, I didn't like it.
Yeah.
Maybe because I love the darker abyss. I just
Of
wanted
course,
this back.
yeah, once again, you're too attached.
Whatever happened to that television title, I will not know.
I did create a list of just some really bad wrestling gimmicks.
Oh, let's go bad. How bad is bad?
I picked this one out especially for Ollie because it involves one of your favourite wrestlers of all time.
Okay.
3 Count.
3 count.
Yeah. They were a boy band gimmick.
Oh, shit, yeah.
Do you know who was in it?
It was...
I didn't get all 3 members. I got one because I saw the name and kind of nearly wet myself with excitement.
Who was it?
Tank Abbott.
Oh, okay, no, I've gone a completely different way in that case. I'm thinking of somebody else.
Are you thinking of the 3-man band?
No. But another brilliant gimmick. They got so over. I was thinking of somebody else that was... yeah, I can't remember the names now. But yeah, okay, he was in... Okay, yeah.
He was in something called 3 Count, which was a boy band gimmick.
Abbott as a boy... No, I can't see that at all.
Oh, yeah, was that?
Is that WCW?
Yes, I want to say it is.
Yeah. Kai, you're responsible for that.
Fuck, you bet.
The fake Razor and Diesel. So,
That was just hilariously bad.
but then that's when you were saying 3 people into one. I was thinking Glenn Jacobs because you had him as fake Diesel, then Isaac Yankum, and then Kane. So he changed himself.
And corporate Kane in a way, I guess. Because actually, I quite like that. There was that recent storyline a couple of months ago where he was, trying to be the really nice guy, and then he would be like threatening to Seth Rollins, but like everything he was saying was a very nice thing, and he could just go from, "Hey Seth, I hope you have a very nice day in the office. I'm gonna kill you."
Yeah.
Like just out of nowhere, like. It's good acting.
Yeah, fair enough.
Who else have you got for me?
Who else have I got on here? Doink. Doink and Diddy Doink.
Doink and the 2 doinks.
Oh.
Yeah.
Dinky and Pinky, wasn't it?
Oh no, there was 2 man-sized doinks.
Oh, right.
Pretend like they're a mirror.
Horrible. Who else? We've already mentioned the Goon. One I came across called What was it called? Hang on. Phantasmo or something like that, and he was a magician that was also a mime.
Wow.
He had one match in WWE and he turned a bird into like a baton and used it, and who was it? He pulled out Earl Hebner's underwear. Yeah, like
wow.
What about characters a bit closer to home before we go back to the list? What about Eugene? We played.
How is that closer to home? What are you implying here, Kai?
Oh, Ollie,
what are you implying here?
your results are back, and you didn't do well on your SATs.
What I'm on about is sort of magician, but it's more real life.
Okay.
That's where I'm going. More closer to sort of home.
Like more.
Still don't get what you mean, but okay.
It's more real life.
Magicians are real life.
Well,
I love magicians.
Can we shit on Chavo Guerrero again and say Kerwin White?
Why not? Traffic around your shit.
Because that was a really bad gimmick. A Latino bloke who was acting as a middle-class white man.
Well, can't say I know anything about that, but I'm quite happy with this fact.
His whole thing was he was like upper middle class, and like he played golf and stuff like that, and his caddy was Dolph Ziggler, and like no, this is how Dolph Ziggler got into it. He was his caddy and stuff like that. And the only reason,
shit, I remember this.
And the only reason,
this.
the only reason they dropped the gimmick was because of the untimely passing of Eddie Guerrero.
Yeah,
and that's the only reason they dropped it. But he would essentially white up, and he'd come out in like proper preppy wear, so he'd have like his jumper around his shoulders,
the
and
fourth member of the Mean Street Posse.
Yeah, he just looked like a complete twat.
Wow, wow. Any more on the list that you've picked?
Who else have I got on there?
We can just rip the shit out. Mantar. Oh my days! One of my favourite Botchamania endings is the one where Mantar comes out to Finn Balor's music, because Mantar did the thing where he held his hands in the air every now and again, like taking like rah, rah.
He used to moo in the ring.
Wow. In fact, I was listening to a Copacabana online radio show. I'm not going to call it a podcast because Clyde doesn't like that.
There's only one thing in there. That's called
There is.
Radio.
And he was doing a live show, and he met the son whose mum was currently dating Mantar, and he said he said he whispered to his friend, "I'm going to tell you the best sentence you'll ever hear. That guy's mum is dating Mantar." And it was like, what? Mind-blowing stuff. Oh yeah, now, if you haven't seen the clip of Mantar coming out to fit like overdubbed with Finn Balor's music, you will piss your pants. Matthew has done a very good job of that one.
Who else have I got on here? I wrote down Hunter Hearst Helmsley because I just thought as a gimmick it was rubbish.
His original gimmick coming in with, I loved that gimmick because he kind of
flew blood.
Yeah, but that works because the comment and actually commentary, very very important thing, put him over so well because they were saying how he didn't learn wrestling on the indies. He had a wrestling tutor from the age of 6 or something. So I loved it. It worked because it was a gimmick.
I suppose that's the thing. Like he came
very
out,
entitled.
You weren't really meant to like him, and I suppose I hated it.
There you go, and that worked. It clearly worked.
Yeah, I guess.
Then he kind of evolved into a guy that came out in black pants and just beat people up with a sledgehammer. Why?
The boss's daughter.
Yeah. Legend. Lad points. Lad.
The only other thing really that I noted down was obviously the WrestleMania 17 Gimmick Battle Royal.
Yeah.
And just who was in it really.
Let's go through it.
So we had
Repo Man.
Well, we had Mean Gene announcing and Bobby Heenan on commentary.
Wow.
They brought like the old school back.
Gobbledygooker was in it, I think.
Gobbledygooker was in it. Iron Sheik, Hillbilly Jim, Sergeant Slaughter, the Bushwhackers. And
Sergeant Slaughter was a good one, I think.
Doink the Clown was in it. He ended up winning, didn't he?
Who did?
Sergeant Slaughter.
Oh, okay.
He put.
I thought the Sheik won it. Because he was the only one that couldn't take the bump over the top rope, so they had to let him win it because he couldn't.
No, that's right. No,
he couldn't take a bump.
That's right.
I think. I could be. I could be right.
No, I think you are right because I know Sergeant Slaughter put him in the camel clutch.
Okay.
And then, for some reason, he let him go.
Oh.
And then I think he was trying to eliminate him and eliminated himself.
Dick move.
Yeah, I know, right?
Was Repo Man in that match?
I don't think he was actually.
Oh,
no,
missed the trick there.
But yeah, so yeah, that's it really. Like gimmicky wise, they're like the worst gimmicks though.
There were some bad ones.
Just like
was Max Moon one? He used to fire fireworks out of his gloves.
He apparently was billed from the moon. No. Generally, they would say he was from the moon, but he was like a.
Genuinely, he was not.
But he was based on like a Japanese fighting robot figure, wasn't it?
Wow,
that's what his whole.
It's the backstory that people come up with. Stuff.
No, that was his whole like design of his thing. Was he was a Japanese toy essentially?
Awesome.
And then when he left, they said that he'd gone back home, which would indicate he went to the moon.
Can I throw one word at Kai? Yeti.
No.
I love the way every shit WCW booking decision.
No,
it's almost like you're responsible for it. You feel bad when we bring this stuff up.
I can throw another one word out, which is even worse, and it was ECW.
Okay.
Zombie.
Yeah, those two.
That was horrible.
But
he got buried by Sandman in like 2 seconds. But I think that was it.
The zombie was kind of funny because if a zombie was in the ring, that's what would happen. They would be a shit wrestler.
I guess.
Yeah, so.
And he just hugged people.
Yeah, that was that. It was an awkward clip.
And actually dressed like a mummy.
Yeah,
should have been called
nothing
mummy,
like
a
Here comes mummy.
It's such a terrible thing that this is the insurance policy for some guy who's 7'2" taking on Hulk Hogan. You know who's going to win that one. Obviously, we're going to get an insurance guy and someone even bigger dressed as a mummy coming out of this fucking ice cube egg thing.
Wow.
Tell you what I do like, the demon though, the Kisses band thing, that was brilliant.
I never saw that.
You missed out.
I know. I was going to say, didn't WCW at one point try and play on the popularity of Mortal Kombat and have like a Sub-Zero type
His
character?
name was
Glacier?
Glacier, yes. And he was actually an accomplished martial artist, from what I gather.
Yeah, I quite liked him. I remember.
I never saw him wrestle, but I knew that was one of the gimmicks.
It was mid-Carter, but it was.
I'm not sure if I saw it, watched an interview or read an article about the amount of money they put into building up that character and how it was just a massive flop. Like he had a snow machine in his entrance, so they had to buy all that shit.
Yep.
It
was a bit of a flop.
Yeah,
bless him.
Yeah,
it's a fun one at last.
Poor guy.
Bless him.
What about kind of group gimmicks like the NWO or D-Generation X?
I think the biggest one in recent times has to be Balor. Well, Bullet Club, I guess.
Oh yeah.
Hashtag the club.
But then, like, what? I still don't really know an awful lot about it. I'm not gonna come out like a fucking internet warrior.
Come out
and
like a mastermind by any chance.
Well, no, I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to come out and say, "Oh, the Bullet Club are the best thing ever." Like, I'm not going to pretend I know everything about them and that I've watched all their matches because I haven't. I'm not going to go out and buy a fucking Bullet Club T-shirt just because everybody else is. I don't really know much about them. I don't really know much about them other than it's just a bunch of. Well, I think it was Americans versus the Japanese in a way, wasn't it? It was all the foreign wrestlers.
Then after a while, because I know Nakamura was part of it.
Yeah, I think was he the first like homegrown guy
to join. Yeah. But I'm a bit like you. I don't really know much about it.
You know the name now. I think that's more important.
Yeah,
know the name.
Because you can't go to an indie show without seeing a fucking Bullet Club T-shirt.
I am one of those marks that has a Balor Club T-shirt,
which is fine.
That's because I like Finn Balor.
Yeah, I don't. If I'm being honest, probably because of his lack of character.
I don't like his mic skills.
Yeah,
I really can't. I don't think he can talk.
You know the thing that pisses me off with NXT when they do the promos.
Yeah,
who are they talking to? Because they're kind of looking slightly off camera.
Yeah, there's someone there holding a card.
That's what I think, and it just looks so bad.
More things they have when they're doing sort of animation.
Yeah. But it's like he'll be sitting there going, Joe, I'm going to come and fight you, blah blah blah. I'm thinking, surely, like you just look at the camera at this point. Like,
the only person I've seen recently do that was Eric Young.
Yeah. I fucking love EY. EY has actually evolved a shitload.
I think from like the last time I properly watched TNA when he was champion.
Yeah.
And he was still like fairly a good guy. He was
very much so, yeah.
Yeah.
He was kind of the zany
face.
Well, when he first came in, he was the guy that would walk down the entrance ramp and his pyro would shoot off and he would jump and be scared out of his skin.
Of his own pyro.
That's it.
Comedy kind of.
Yeah, very much so. Then further down the line, he went and joined, or he made the World Elite and he was like the evil dictator. He shaved his head. And then he went, there was another bit in there where he would put a mask on, he was Super Eric, and he was like this joke superhero character.
Can we quickly talk about superheroes in training? Hurricane and...
haven't quite got there yet, but yeah.
I'm trying to think, was it Jamal or was it Rosie?
I think it was Rosie,
wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was an awful gimmick.
I haven't quite got there yet, but yeah, I love any time they try and make it comic book style. Can we talk about Attack? Have you ever heard of Attack Pro Wrestling down in kind of Bristol area? No. They do that the video game style wrestling.
Okay.
It's just a shame they're so far away. So like they have Mark Andrews and they'll paint him all blue and he comes out like Wolverine. And he's wearing like, and it's almost like fancy dress wrestling. So they've had Mario versus Luigi in a wrestling match.
Nice.
They've had lots of Mortal Kombat style things and Street Fighter style things.
Yeah.
And they just have a lot of fun in their matches. There was one where Mark Andrews went back to the future to win his match. So they fought backstage.
Yeah.
They came out and there's a guy that looks like he's dressed like Mark Andrews, but he's in a bin being beaten up. And then all of a sudden the lights go out and it starts flashing, and then Mark Andrews comes back through the curtain, walks over himself in a bin, who's in a bin, steps in, wins the match, and then goes back to the future again. And it's just lots of little things like that. As far, they're a complete gimmick promotion in that respect. But if you find any of their trailers for their DVDs, it just looks like so much fucking fun. It's unbelievable. They've riffed on Mario. They've riffed on Sonic. They've riffed on all of your favourite video games growing up. They've done a match around it, basically.
Who won against Sonic versus Mario?
I'm not sure if they've... Well,
they must have done that one.
Probably. Well, there's been characters like that, without a doubt.
Surely Mario would win in that one.
No, well...
One's a hedgehog and one's a man.
Yeah, but
one's a plumber. Yeah.
Just get a power up and burn him.
No, but both guys could do that because Sonic could go supersonic. Yeah.
Oh, then Mario could do one of those mushrooms. Okay, we're getting
way
off track now.
I fucking love gimmicks.
Yeah. Going back to more recent gimmicks.
Yes.
What about something like the Vaudevillains?
Love them.
Because I think that's a
Vaudevillains.
fantastic entrance they've got, where they turn the cameras black and white and their characters that they're like 1890 strong men and stuff. It's so good.
So good.
They're refreshing and retro.
That's it.
Back, literally.
Yeah,
they're doing something different. Bailey. In a way,
I like Bailey, but
being
I
a
think
hugger,
of her, I think
ultimate baby face.
I think of her as the female John Cena.
Yes, but in a good way because she's still doing a believable character.
Yeah,
I almost can't understand why the male audience. Well, maybe because she's female, I guess. Maybe if John Cena was a woman, he would be more over.
John Cena sucks.
Yeah. Bailey sucks. No. Yeah, Bailey's someone I like because she sticks to. She's a hugger. She's. She'll still fight but she'll fight because she loves the belt and she loves,
exactly.
Yeah, she loves entertaining people. Yeah. But no, the Vaudevillains, I'm 110% behind, without a doubt.
Yeah. I suppose two more really, Enzo and Cass. They're just New Yorkers, aren't they?
Yeah, and that's the thing. Yeah, they play on the gimmick. They're very smash mouth and.
Well, I guess everyone's a gimmick, but it's kind of like the Vaudevillain. They're like the ultimate obvious gimmicks.
Yeah.
Enzo and Cass.
You can have subtle gimmicks, but
I suppose that's what Enzo and Cass are.
What about the New Day? Where would you put them in the gimmick?
New Day? Who?
Go eat your booty, Scott.
New Day are an interesting one because when they started,
they were meant to be like a gospel kind of thing, weren't they?
And they were baby faces, and everyone they just weren't getting over. And then I think they were allowed to run with. I think if I remember rightly, hearing an interview with one of them, they just said, "Look, can we just go out there and try one thing? If it doesn't work, you can can it. It's fine." Yeah. They went out there, did the heel, kind of overplayed it, and then actually got booed for proper reasons. And then they came back and they were like, "Shit, guys, that was good. Do that next week. You're on." And they just kind of rolled with there. Yeah.
And now they're one of the biggest.
Well, the thing is, their heel to face change has been one of the most organic.
Oh yeah, that's it.
Such a long time.
Because it kind of reminded me a bit like Daniel Bryan, not necessarily the heel change, the face change, but from going from a mid carder to a main eventer.
Yeah.
And also EC3 has been quite organic in his change. Although I don't like his new babyface way of doing it. But
all that heel Rockstar Spud.
Oh man, Spud! I love Spud. I just wish they'd just decide if he's a good guy or a bad guy and stop changing him.
Yeah.
He's probably my favourite British wrestler at the moment.
Fair enough.
But the New Day is a very interesting one, without a doubt, because I think, in a way, though, I've watched. Have you seen Table for Three?
Yes.
The New Day one was the first one I watched. Have you seen this?
I don't think I've seen that one. I've seen a few others.
With the New Day. The New Day one was the first one I watched, I think, and it just made me love them. I know they're just so believable in what they do, and I think personally for me, I think I'm most pleased for someone like for Kofi Kingston, because how many kind of weird kind of half gimmicks has he been given?
Yeah, that's true.
And finally he's in an act that's stuck, and he's getting reactions that he deserves.
How do you reckon that will change without titles?
I don't think they need titles. Belts, to be honest.
But it's helped them. Don't get me wrong. I think it's helped them.
Yeah.
But when they lose it, I think they will stick and they're good to go.
Hopefully, anyway.
Fair enough.
I think in a way they've elevated themselves so high that there's very few teams that can come in and touch them now, which is a bit of a Well, that's probably the booking down to the bookers and the story.
I think when the Wyatts come back.
I've ever since I discovered Bray Wyatt, I've been desperate for them to get a good push, but I just don't think it's ever going to happen.
Well, I think the Wyatt family aren't going to be a thing for a while.
Injuries and all that sort of stuff.
I think Harper's out till October.
Wow.
I'm not sure if they're even keeping Rowan on.
Jeez.
So yeah,
it's a shame that one's kind of come at the Russell.
Yeah. But hey,
Bray Wyatt's probably my favourite recent person, I think.
What about his brother? What about Bo?
No.
Oh, what's happened? Oh, the whole social outcasts have just imploded.
Well,
with Adam Rose.
They literally have taken 4 actual social outcasts and gone, here, run with this.
Yeah.
And
see what
it's
you can
not
do.
worked.
But then, I mean, if Heath Slater could do it with 3MB, he made that work. I mean,
I don't know how, because I can't stand it.
Jinder Mahal and Drew Galloway have they're not rock.
Drew McIntyre.
Oh, Drew McIntyre.
Yeah.
Neither of them two should have been in that act. But they made it work. They believed it. They went out there and sold it to the moon.
Fair enough.
In fact, Drew Galloway is a guy I'm loving at the moment. With his kind of... I love his kind of gimmick. Well, I say gimmick, his character. he's just someone that fucking loves
I
wrestling.
think it's genuinely true.
Yeah, and I believe him when he looks in the camera and says, "I do this because I love wrestling. I'm a fan deep down inside." And he'll say to Kurt Angle, "I'm about to face you in a match, but I've just got to say inside, I'm a 15-year-old kid jumping off the walls. This is a dream match for me." And you believe the guy.
Of course you do.
Yeah, but I believe every word he says. And I think that's why I'm loving him.
Is that
at the
gimmick, or
moment.
is that genuinely him?
That's a bit, well, it's
saying just be yourself. Go out there.
That's it. Well, if his gimmick is being himself, it's working.
Yeah.
I'm buying into it 110%.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
I think we're done.
Have we done gimmicks to death?
In the old podcast series, we sharpshooted the shit out of that, which is available on iTunes, Stitcher, and...
I'm sure someone from Cyprus is going to send us a long list of those that we missed out, which is
yes.
fine. So yeah, but get involved. Get involved. I mean, say drop us a message. It doesn't even need to be a private message. Pop it on the Facebook wall.
Yep.
See what other people think. Yeah,
Exactly.
don't keep it to ourselves. Let's have a big chat with the world of Facebook.
Big old
if you want to. Yeah, let us know who your favourites are.
Yeah, so why not do that? It's Facebook on Facebook, should I say, facebook.com/Figure4 Radio. We have iTunes, and we have Stitcher, which is a podcast hosting device, which is in this one. But that is also connected to our website. It's at figure4radio.weebly.com. But if you go to Twitter and Instagram, you can follow us and check out.
You can follow Luke.
Why not check out some of Luke's photographs on Instagram? It's at Figure4 Radio. Indeed. And why not check out some older videos that we've done for Figure4 Radio? It's youtube.com/F4.
Yes, I've enjoyed this. Has been good fun.
It's been good fun.
I love gimmicks. I'm a massive gimmick. I fucking love gimmicks.
I love gimmicks. We could sit here for another hour. And
we
could
could.
More gimmicks.
Imagine if I'd have actually gone and done research. Imagine if I'd have had time to pull up a spreadsheet for this. Wow, we'd have been here till next week.
Can I have a next week's topic for a suggestion?
Go on then.
Yeah.
Biggest botches.
Botches!
Okay.
Yeah.
There we go. So
fucking love botches. Fucking love botches.
Check that out next week. Anyway, from the Killer Car brand.
Mastermind Ollie Spring.
Luke O'Mac.
Thanks for listening. Goodbye.
Lock it in.
This has been a Figure4 Radio production. For more podcasts, go to our website www.figure4radio.weebly.com.